Hello there, this is Kush Sharma from Creative Pad Media. In this tutorial, we'll be seeing how to fix a very common problem in AI images, which is the hands and the fingers. And we'll be using a couple of different images to demonstrate some different issues, find a solution to all this. I'll just be going through these images in just some moments from now. Also, we'll be using a couple of different AI tools. One of them is going to be Fooocus. This is completely the free approach. Think of it like this way. If you don't know how to set up Fooocus on your computer, I have a separate video. It just takes around 60 seconds to do it. So the link will be given to the setup video in the description. We'll also be using Adobe Firefly. This is not completely free, but you do get 25 credits per month when you sign up for an Adobe account. And for the very challenging images, we will be using the Flux Inpainting system, okay, which is not that accessible, but I'll talk about this later also. Now let's go through the different images so that we can see the different type of issues when it comes to hands and fingers. So like I said, these days AI is definitely getting better at this game. So this is an AI image, and if you just see it from here, this looks pretty good, the hands and feet. But the moment you start to zoom in, you're going to notice that it still misses out on the finer details. This is a very common problem these days. Okay, sometimes it can also be fine like this, but then if you look at the feet again here, you can see that this will have to be improved. So we'll see how to do this. Then sometimes the problem is going to be of a missing finger. This is a very common problem. So we're going to see this. Sometimes the problem can be the opposite, that you can actually have an additional finger. Okay. Then we have instances where the number of fingers are right, but let's say like in this case, I was trying to generate a woman showing a peace sign, and you can see that doesn't look like it at all. So that's another thing. Whenever you have people shaking hands, AI usually messes it up. This is not that bad, but you can see once you zoom in, this does struggle. So we'll see how to fix this. And this is perhaps going to be the most challenging image. Okay, so you can see here, his hands are together and this is just completely messed up. And we'll see how to solve such challenging issues also. So let's get started first with the easy one, with this number one image. The links to all the tools and the images have been given to you in the description. For this, we're going to go over to Fooocus, because when it comes to refining small details, Fooocus is the best. So let's go to Fooocus and hit input image. We're going to be using the Inpainting method for this. So we'll select Inpaint. Let's upload this image here. Now I can hold down Shift and move my mouse wheel to zoom in. And then I can change the brush size by holding down Control Command and moving the mouse wheel. These are some important shortcuts to know. And when it comes to refining, don't paint over the whole hand. Exactly wherever you see the problems, just go over that. Stuff like this. Then I think the other hand was still fine, so we don't really need to do anything here. And the feet we'll do separately, okay, because we'll have to type in an additional prompt, and it's usually a good idea to just go step by step, because in that additional prompt we'll be mentioning only detailed male hand. Okay, now sometimes when you zoom in this much, you may not see the other thing, so you can just hit the R key on your keyboard. That's just going to reset the zoom, and then you'll be able to see under the image. A very important thing to do is change this method type to improve detail and face. You don't want to use the default inpaint and outpaint method. That's going to be very aggressive, and for such finer things, it'll just completely mess it up and actually make it worse. Okay, and here in the additional prompt, you can, in this case, we can type in detailed male hand or hands. Okay, so and now we can just go and, first of all, just before we hit generate, go to advanced, and even one image should be fine, to be frank, so we don't need to generate too many images. Under performance, just select quality, so we get the best quality image. Output format, just select JPEG. Okay, this just slightly makes the generations faster, and that's it. You really don't have to do anything else. Let's just hit generate and let's wait for the results. And you can see that it has started to do its work. It's producing those fingernails and it is looking good. So let's just wait for this to finish. All right, so our image is ready. Let's just download this so that we'll be able to have a zoomed in look. Now, if we zoom in, you can see that this looks really nice. It has not produced the full fingernail on the thumb. Okay, so you can just do this again. So whenever you need to, just get rid of the original image, drag this, and do the same thing. Zoom in, mask, and in the additional prompt, just type in detailed male thumb, something like that. And similarly, then do another generation for the feet, and usually you'll get a good outcome. So for refining, like I said, Fooocus works really well, even though it might take multiple tries. Then let's see an image like this one. This time we're going to be using Firefly. So like I said, when you create an account, you will get 25 credits for free. That means 25 generations per month, okay, which is not bad, kind of one generation per day, because it usually does do a good job. So when you go to the homepage, you can just go over to image, go to generative fill, and let's upload the image here. And here, by default, you get this brush. So what we can do is this time to zoom in, you can hold down Control or Command and just zoom in. And to change the size of the brush, you can use the square bracket crease like this. And what I like to do in these cases is just paint the entire area, okay? If you are using Fooocus to do the same thing, because it's exactly the same thing like how we were Inpainting, then just make sure the only difference will be that for such a large change, when you're actually generating a finger, don't use the improve detail one. Then use the detail, the first default method that comes in paint or out paint, the aggressive method, okay? So something like this is fine. And then we can maybe even give it more space because it's going to generate a complete new hand. And then we can type in female hand holding a bottle, because you will also have to mention this in the prompt that she's holding the bottle, since you've masked out the bottle also. Like that's a part of this. Holding a bottle, and you're going to get 3 results. So let's wait for this. And this is usually pretty fast. That's one advantage it has over at least the people who are using the free Google Colab plan, that these generations are really fast. And you can see that mainly we're looking out for something that just solves the number of hands, something like this. So you can see, right, this also looks fine. Now you can see that sometimes the generations, they don't have the desired quality. So this is where what you have to understand is oftentimes it's going to be a combination of different tools. For example, now we can hit download because at least this looks decent, or we can, if we want, we can hit this more button to see some more generations. But at least when you have something decent, you download that and then you put it through Fooocus and use the same refining method that we just saw before. Okay, so usually it's like these tools working together. For something, I think something like this looks really good. Put this back in Fooocus, improve detail, and in the additional prompt, just type in detailed female hand in this case. And the combo of these two things should give you a good result. Okay, so sometimes it's going to be like that. Let's look at the third image in which we had that additional finger. Here also, to be frank, we can use both Firefly as well as Fooocus. I already used Fooocus for this, so I'm going to show you that result in some time from now. Let me just go back, and first of all, let me use Firefly since it's going to be quicker. And in cases like this, what I usually like to do is, because it's tough to really write a prompt, something like generate a pinky finger, but don't have this finger, it can be tough to exactly word this. So what you can do is just, slightly reduce the size of the brush, just mask out this entire area, which is not good. And just, we'll basically be running an empty prompt. We're really not going to write anything. We're kind of relying on how intelligent Firefly is to see if it can just figure this out and do this on its own. So I'm not going to write anything, just going to hit generate. And usually, remember, this is what powers the generative fill inside Photoshop also, okay? So usually it does a pretty decent job. So let's wait for this result. And you can see, right, that's instantly just gives you something that looks much more real. So if I slightly zoom out, you've got 3 variations also. I think here you have the full finger also. This looks really nice. This one slightly just looks bad, but I think the first 2 results look really nice. It's kind of added those additional things near the laptop also. So I really like this when it comes to Firefly. This can again be done in Fooocus also. So like, for example, you upload the image, you mask it out. Make sure again, this time you select Inpaint or Outpaint because we need to be a bit aggressive. And then here in the prompt, don't type anything. So let me just directly show you the result that I got out of Fooocus. Right, so this was the result that I got from Fooocus, doing exactly the same thing. And you can see this also didn't look bad, but if you were to zoom in, this just wasn't good. So one thing I can tell you about Fooocus is it definitely achieves the result at some point. But first of all, the generations are slow on the free plan. Okay, that's one downside. Secondly, what I've seen with Fooocus as compared to Firefly is it takes more amount of generations. So one thing, what you can do is, if you've got the time, okay, is to increase the image number to something like, whatever it can go to. Like not this much, but let's say around 9 to 10 generations. And then take a long break, come back, and at least one of those will serve the purpose. That's what I've seen, okay? Firefly, in my opinion, just does it faster because even the generations are a bit faster, okay? So hope you got the point. Let's move on to the next image. Now we've got this one where, like I said, I was trying to generate like a peace sign here. Here, Adobe Firefly actually struggled a lot. So sometimes you just don't know which tool is going to do the job and which tool isn't going to do the job. Sometimes you just have to try these tools and just see which one gives you the best result. Here, actually, Focus worked well. So what I'm guessing is Focus works really well when you know specifically what the result is. For example, here we will be typing in the prompt that a female hand showing a peace sign. Okay, so let's quickly, I'm just directly going to brush over that area, upload that image, and I'm just directly going to see you when I'm about to write the prompt just to save time. All right, so we've brushed over the hand. Make sure this time Inpaint or Outpaint is selected. In the number of generations, I'm just going to keep it at around 6. I think this should be fine. And in the prompt, I will type something specific, female hand showing the peace sign. Okay, let's hit generate and let's see the results. All right, so all our 6 generations are ready. Let's go through them. So you can clearly see, even at this zoomed out look, this, probably even this, because there are 4 fingers here. This through distorted. So if you think of it, we just basically have 2 which work out to be fine. So I think this one looks decent. And let's also see the last one. Yeah, I think this also is nice. It's just that her fingers are slightly longer. But again, you can see the point that you really need to have a lot of generations before you find a winner. I think the first one probably looks the best. And here also the job is not done because you will still have to do that thing just on the edges. Do the same thing again, which is the refining method, which I showed you for the first image. So it'll take, 2 steps to achieve the final outcome. Also, I have the same thing ready right now. Female hand showing the peace sign in Firefly, masked out that area. Let's quickly see what are the results we get right now. You can see the 3 results. First one is not good. This one is actually good, but then you can see one of the fingers, it kind of doesn't really look good, right? It appears to be missing. I think this probably is actually the best result that we've got, but then the thumb is just, doesn't look too good. Like if it was just slightly bent like this, it would have been great. Just missed that part. Otherwise, I think this was really nice. So you can see, right, sometimes these things are a bit of a hit and miss. You can go from here, but ultimately even this at some point will need that refining thing to be done. Okay. Let's move on to the next image, which is these people shaking the hands. And again, this was again a 2-step process. I first generated things using an empty prompt in Firefly. So let's do that. So like I said, again, you can do this within Focus itself, just showing you how different tools work together just to achieve fast results. And also because a lot of people do have the Photoshop plan, and along with the Photoshop plan, you get, for example, I have that, you do get 750 credits per month. So in case you have that, then Firefly is like an added bonus for you. Okay, so something like this. And then again, we're just going to leave it up to Firefly to determine this, and let's see the results, because at least it should be better than what we had in the original. If this doesn't work, what we can do is we will only paint over the areas which had the problem. But you can see, right, Firefly is pretty good at this. And we slightly zoom out. The only issue that you can face in this case, like we're facing, is that there's a mismatch now of the color tones. Otherwise, the generation looks really nice if you consider that we can always refine the tips here in Focus, but the color is a bit off. So that can also be one of the issues. I think in this, probably we are getting something. Yeah, this one looks much better. This one, not so much. So like I said, so this is fine. I think we can take this back to Focus and refine it using our method. Another thing that you can do here is, so let's just reset this. Only paint over the bad areas, not the whole hand. Okay, so something like this, because the rest of the area seem to be fine. This is also fine. And because this can be refined later very easily. And yeah, so let's just see what it does on an empty prompt for this. This is the first one. This doesn't look good. Second, third one. Yeah, this is also fine. Let's just try 3 more. Right, the first one doesn't look good. Yeah, so I think something like this is also fine. Probably we can increase the details back in focus. However, when I was trying to improve this, like consider this as the first step, not the refining step, we're just trying to get things right. In focus, it was completely messing up using the in-paint, out-paint method. So Firefly definitely gave the better results. So I think out of all this, the best result that we got was from the first generation and the third result that we saw, because there even the skin tone kind of matched. Sometimes you can see it is slightly challenging to fix these issues, especially when they're shaking hands. Okay, now let's try to fix the most challenging image, because this absolutely, it was getting worse in Focus as well as Firefly. So I've already tried that a lot of times. Now something like this, we can go for a more advanced model, which is the Flux image Inpainting model, and we are accessing the Flux generator through this web app called Fooocus AI.pro. I was very impressed with their website. Now you might ask me, Kush, if this is so good, then why aren't we using this for all the images? Simply because this is not that accessible. So when you do create your account here, you will only get 50 credits, and that too just once. And each generation, like for example, once we do in Paint, is going to cost you 14 credits. So this is something that, let's say, you can only use 2 to 3 times, okay, not too much. But if you have something really challenging where nothing else is working, this can be the solution. So let's upload that image here. And then we can do the same thing, just draw the mask here. And this time just give it slightly more amount of space, because oftentimes with Influx, it might even place one hand on top of another. I'll be showing you some of the examples here in case right now it doesn't work out to be, it doesn't give us the perfect result, but just make a larger mask here. And then you can just type in hands. You really don't have to do anything else, but you do have to type something. If you don't type something, it gives you an error, okay? So let's just wait for the results. All right, so we've got the results here. And to be frank, this time it's not given us such a great result. This was the original. We just go down here. You can see I slightly improved it. Okay, at least looks more real, but there are still some issues with this. So again, even with this tool, you are gonna have to just do this again. Try some variations in the prompt, like detailed, male hands. But let me show you that overall, as compared to the other tools, it does begin to give some good results. So let me just show you some results that I got before this generation. All right, so I did a total of 4 generations, and 2 of them weren't good. One of them was in front of you. The other 2 did give out good results. For example, you can see here it did place the hand on top, so the look had changed. But overall, when it comes to how real it looks, I think this still did a good job. And also, I think this, in my opinion, was the best result. But when I tried something like this with, let's say, Focus or Firefly, let me show you the kind of results I was getting. So this was right from Focus. I just basically drew the mask and used an empty prompt. And even when I was typing in something in the prompt, it just wasn't working at all. So yes, this does work better. It will require some trial and error. And in case you run out of the credits, I just want to show you, okay, in case you want to go for the paid plan, that it is pretty affordable. So if I just go on here where the credits are showing, hit buy credits, they have yearly subscriptions, monthly subscriptions, which are also cheap. But then they also have something like this, like a one-time purchase where, let's say, around $700, you can get 500 credits. And along with the Inpainting, then you also get access to the Flux Pro AI generator, which is one of the best AI image generators out there. So you can see this is not 100% an objective process. It will take some amount of work, some amount of trial and error to get things right. But I just hope that through this video, you at least got some ideas on which tools to use. So in case this video helped you out, do give it a like. And if you want to follow along all my experiments with the different AI photo editing and image generation tools out there, then make sure you subscribe, and I will see you next time.